excited to see what comes from my mind each time I sit down to do a video, because in as much as I might have maybe the topic, we are outside, so we're going to be interrupted a lot. But I wasn't feeling well, my body just shut down, and now I'm home. I'm feeling a little better and kind of just, raising my vibration and slowly getting there, which is totally fine. And that there's just things I'm beginning to learn about my body, about myself, and just listening to what my body says and what my spirit is speaking and saying to me. So I've been seeing a lot of safe and healed, you know, relationships and couples that seem to be in love from what I can see, and maybe children that have grown up in healthy homes. And for me, even being honest, that is something that I haven't experienced. And I saw this girl. She was traveling with her dad, and I cried a bit watching that video because I felt like she felt so safe in the environment and in a space that she was in. And I thought I think she was 19 or 18, and just being able to see such a safe and such a healthy individual at that age, for me, I was still wounded, and I was still maybe trying. And maybe it's when I realized about healing. And I think I've always been isolated for the better part of my life, and that is just something that is a normal thing to me. I see a lot of the reason why you need to be alone, and it's like, for me, I didn't need a reason to be alone. I've always been alone my entire life. I used to play alone, I do shit alone, I feel safe alone. And I feel like as an only child, there are these responsibilities that kind of just you everyone just expects so much from you. You're expected to maybe one day get married and then have kids. And I always think, if maybe I had sisters, then I wouldn't maybe have that pressure. And for me, i I used to believe in love. Like, I've always just been a lover girl, and I was like, waiting for that guy. And but you grow up and you learn that, it's so much more to that. And as I grew up, I think I just started to give up on that idea of a family and of love that I had. And I had to ask myself questions like, do I really want this thing? Is this what I really want? Am I in a space that I'm able to receive this thing? I feel like I have received a lot of wounds from my family. And as I sit down and I see myself as a wounded I think my parents had not healed, and I don't blame them. I think we just all have different journeys, but I wish they had taken the time to heal their wounds before they got into a union and before bringing kids into this world, because I feel like I was so wounded and I didn't need to be. And just the idea of me now wounding someone else, because where I am, I'm still not fully healed. And I feel like life has just been throwing shit at me. The people that I was interacting with, I remember just asking God, why did you put me in spaces with these people to wound me? Or why did you let these people hurt me? And why did you let, maybe let's, because you're talking about relationships, like love is all round, but I would love to just go deeper into romantic relationships. I have been around men that I really wanted to love, and it's like, one, they never saw me. I was in those environments. I was abused, I was manipulated, I was wounded, and the scars still remain. In as much as I've done all this healing work, and because I just never wanted my wounds to, hurt people. And I understood that from maybe a really young age, and I just didn't want to hurt someone else because I was hurt. And it felt like somehow it's just me that thought like that, because the people that I kept meeting were wounded people and they kept wounding me, and I blamed myself for it. And just seeing healthy females and healthy relationships, that's just something that's so new to me. And it kind of gave me hope for maybe marriage and for having my own family one day. But something on the inside of me is still broken and it's still wounded, and it's like I cannot watch another human being. I cannot bring another human being into this world just because, and I know that I am not that safe space, I'm not that safe environment that they would need, because I'm wounded. I will most definitely wound them. History repeats itself. If you're not, I'm also learning like breaking generational curses, and I think I'm doing this for my family, for the women that came before me. And I don't know if there are those that will come after me. I don't know if God allows me to be in that space where I am fully healed, then maybe we can think about that. But I think where I am right now, I still have I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, a lot of resentment towards the things and the people that have upset me and hurt me and used me. And it's still something I haven't been able to shake off me. Uh, I believe that life happens for a reason, yeah. And I cannot just sit here and pretend that the past didn't happen. I cannot just sit here and pretend that this life didn't happen, these things didn't happen to me, because they did happen to me, and they did affect me in one way or the other, for better or for worse, I don't know. But I'm still trying to just not live enslaved by a past. I'm trying so hard. And then I thought of another thing, because in as much as these things have happened to me, I've also seen bad things happen to women around me. And it is always from men, this rape and this abuse and battering. And this is the reality that I've been aware of for so long. And when you're in such an environment, it kind of just, it affects the way you think and the way you see the world and the way you see yourself and the way you see men. And it just got me into asking myself whose reality I'm currently living in. Because I also believe that the universe gives you what you believe in and what you're ready to receive. So I also got to thinking that maybe I was attracting these relationships to myself because of the type of mindset that I was really in. And it's like, one thing that I'm constantly asking myself is, what reality and whose reality am I living in? Am I living the reality of a wounded individual and the things that I see, and maybe from even the songs that I listen to and I've listened to, and the music I watched, and what I saw in my environment growing up, and it's these wounded women? And is that the reality that I was living in, or that I'm still living in? And I think that question helped me a lot, and it's in discovering the type of reality and in whose reality I was living in, that kind of helped me into stepping out of I think the madness that I had created for myself. I realize now the type of mindset that I was in and what I was attracting in my life, but how do I move from that? And I feel like when you're constantly trying to do something, then it's like the universe works against you. I feel like God just has a way of showing you that you're not in control. So yeah, I'm in that space where I don't want to live in this negative idea of what love, of what family is, because they're so much better. But then again, I don't want to not be aware of that negative side, because it's there. And I can heal myself, because I've healed myself before and then gotten back into the same cycles. It is draining. but then again, you only have so much to control. So I'm at a space where it's not really giving up, but it's kind of giving up. I think as an individual and growing up alone, I know how to exist alone, and surprisingly, I love it. This is my safe space. So it's like when people say you might die alone, I'm like, okay, and what's so bad with that? You come into this world alone, and you just leave it alone. Like, what's so bad about that? As long as I get to enjoy who I am as a human being, and I get to maybe go to places and just enjoy and maximize life as wholly as I can be, then having a family and having a husband or having a lover is not really something I desperately need. I don't need that. I honestly don't need that. And I think when I say things like this, people think I'm joking, but I honestly do not. I don't feel like I need it. I don't, it is not a must. It is not a necessity. And firstly, I wouldn't, even if like the universe brought me this on a plate, I'll be like, no, thank you right now, because it's like, don't heal something, then the people that come after you, they are going to deal with it. And if they don't do that, then the people after them are going to deal with it. That brings me to the topic of like generational curses. We used to think of I used to think of generational curses as just witchcraft and stuff, but you grow up and you get to realize it's not none of that shit. It's the things you refuse to deal with, it's the things you refuse to heal, and then they just keep on manifesting into you, whoever you're around. And one thing that's dangerous than a wounded man is a wounded woman. Women have the power to create. There's a verse in the Bible that says that a wise woman builds the her home, and a fool destroys her home with her own bare hands. I didn't quite really know what I wanted, maybe in a relationship, maybe in a husband, maybe in a man. The things he was offering might have seemed good, but I had gone through a period of getting things that I did not want, and I knew at that moment what I wanted and what I didn't want. And I realized that if you're not really careful, and if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what you want, then anything you're given you might receive. And sometimes these things that look like a good deal and a blessings are really just bullshit disguised in opportunities. Like, it's not really worth being in these spaces. And I think it was just like me opening my eyes, and I just had to constantly and that led to me constantly asking myself questions like, what do you want? What do you really need? Is this what you want? Does it look like the ideal opportunity for you? And I think even before that moment, I think it was just like me opening my eyes, because I realized it was a lot of things that were being pushed my way. It's like less, why is it that I keep getting offered these things? There are moments I thought that I deserved these things. There are moments that I deserved, okay, well, if I can't have the entire loaf, maybe I could just, deal with these cramps for the time being. And it just made me want to cry, because it's like these are things that have been offered by people that knew me and people that were so close to me. It's like I now understand why I had to be offered such things, because it's like if they had not offered me these things, I would never have realized that these things were not for me. And it's like right now, I in a space where I'm in, there are things I cannot take. It's either what I want or better than that, you know? And there's no problem with that. It's just about realizing what you deserve. Because if I'm telling you guys, if you don't know what you want, or there's this quote that says, if you don't know where you're going, any road can take you there. It is so true. And some roads are not worth traveling. It's like, know what you want in all aspects. Like when I was saying I'm giving up on love. It's not like just throwing it all away. It's just like I don't want anything that's less of healthy, that's less of healed, that's less of like this, just the ideal of what I know I deserve. And it's like if anything else other than that comes, I push it aside.